Welcome to
So
my
is it
basement, everybody, especially you, Tommy Tallarico. How you doing, buddy?
good? Is that the same basement I used to sleep in back in the old days, or is that a
No,
new
new
house?
basement.
Oh, you upgraded. Okay.
Yeah, a little bit of an upgrade. A few more toys on the shelf. You haven't been to this basement,
I
actually.
haven't been to this basement.
Yeah.
No.
How you been, man? Happy New Year.
I know. It's great. Fantastic. Let's test. Shannon, are you watching us on YouTube?
Are we live?
Are you see? Yes. Click the YouTube link. See if it's working. It is
Yeah.
working?
Oh, that's
Cool.
cool.
So how do people comment? Where can we see people's comments? Do you know?
I don't know. I don't know where
You've
people can
never done
comment. I
you've
think
never
if
done
they're watching the Hangout, they can do quick Q&A. So I think they have to go to the we've got 27 viewers right now. I think
uh,
they have to go to the Google Plus page, EPN's Google Plus page, and they can join the Q&A that way. I think they can. I'm not sure.
so
Let's
so
see.
right now people can just watch us on YouTube.
They can watch us, and I don't know
Or
if
can
they
they
can.
comment? Can they comment from YouTube?
I don't. Dude, this is the first time I've ever done this,
Yeah.
so I don't know.
Sh-
Can you
No,
can you
she
see if
says no.
Shannon can comment?
What is that? It says comments are disabled for this video
Oh, that's
on YouTube.
BS. So how do we do that? How do we fix that?
Um,
I don't know. I don't know how to fix it.
well, how do people get into Google Hangouts and
They just
ask
got
questions?
to
Let's
click on
can
the
you
EPN
what's it called?
logo
Click on the EPN logo. Where the hell is that?
in the top right hand part of the screen up there, I think, and they can go to our Google
On
Plus
on YouTube.
on YouTube. Yeah.
So try that, Shannon. Click the EPN TV logo.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait, there. Whoa, we got people. What year
Yay!
is this? Asked Mr. Henry. This is 2016. Hey,
Yes.
Tommy Vet, can you see this? Alex from Calgary. Yo,
Yes, we can.
Alex
Okay,
says
cool.
yes.
So,
And you can ask here.
Mr. Henry, tell us in a question how you did this, so we can tell everybody because we've never done this before. And while you do that, while you type that in,
In the
we
rain.
see you, Kasumi-chan. Let's find out what Tommy Tellerico's been up to in 2015.
Okay, so let me see. 2015 was a crazy year with video games live. Let me see. I'm gonna multitask and go on because I can't even remember all the places we did. We did 50 shows. So we started the year in Mannheim, Germany. We
Yeah.
played the SAP Arena, which was like 20,000 people, and then we went to Lorain, Ohio. Talk about culture shock, and then New York City. We played the Big Beacon Theater. And then we started our big Canadian tour: Edmonton, Calgary, Montreal, Toronto, Ottawa, 3 shows in Halifax. Then went to Boston, and then Indiana, and then straight to Munich, Germany, and Vienna, Austria for the first time,
This is
Glasgow,
amazing.
Scotland, Berlin, Germany, Dublin, Ireland. Had a couple weeks off then and hit Oklahoma City.
Do
Then
you bring the models of Stonehenge with you still, or?
the models of no, we couldn't. We had to stop doing that. Oh,
So
what?
what? So
Why?
how many?
Shannon's asking, why do you have my bum itches?
Yeah. Why do you have my bum itches?
Okay.
It's very professional, and I think you've said that many times on
my,
EP.
my bum itches.
So, out of all those places that you went to, the best place, the place that sticks in your mind,
Hold,
what's the place that you
hold
had the
on.
best show?
I'm only halfway done. Oklahoma City, Fort Worth, Texas, Prague,
Oh,
Czech
Jesus.
Republic, Melbourne, Australia, Sydney, Australia, Shanghai, China, Amarillo, Texas, Cedar Park, Texas, Seattle, Washington for the big Key Arena Dota 2 championships, Red Rocks in Colorado, 4 shows in Cologne, Germany during the Gamescom. 2 shows in Beijing, China, Shanghai, China, Shenzhen, China, Sao
Wow.
Paulo, Brazil, Taipei,
Hold that
Taiwan.
thought for one sec. I'm just going to answer Alex Snell. Yes, we can see this, so please keep your questions happening on the Google Hangout app that you can watch this on.
Yes.
Don't ask us how you get to that Google Hangout app, though, because all we could figure out was YouTube. Okay, go ahead, Tommy.
Hong Kong, Frankfurt, Germany, Hamburg, Germany, and Katowice, Poland. So those are all the places that we
Wow.
went. So you asked me though, what was my favorite one? There were two. My most favorite show was this year when we played Red Rocks with the Colorado Symphony. We had 200 people on stage, and it's Red Rocks. I mean, this is amazing. Like U2 live from Red Rocks. I mean, and yet the Rocks were just amazing. There was like 6,000 or 7,000 people there, but we flew in because it was such a big show. Like as a musician, that's like a bucket list item, is to play Red Rocks. So Russell Brower, the audio director of Blizzard, flew in. Laura Flute Lincoln Travia was in. The Austin Wintory from Journey was there. These are all guest conductors. We did the world premiere of Grim Fandango with Pete McConnell and Clint Bajaki and all the old LucasArts guys.
Remember we used to go and talk to those guys on EP?
I know.
It's amazing.
Exactly. Christopher Tin, we did his Grammy Award-winning music from Civilization 4. So it was so incredible. We had so many great guests there and everything. So yeah, that was definitely my favorite.
That's awesome. Okay, well, the Legend Blue just told us how you do it. Just need to click on the Join Hangout button on the YouTube link, and it will take you to a page to ask questions. So if you're watching this on YouTube, find that link, and you'll have another pop-up window thing that you can ask us questions. So please join in on the conversation. So
Sure.
Awesome year for you.
Yes.
Traveled all over the world. Is it getting tiring?
No, it's still exciting. I mean, it's still, people are always saying like, God, you must hate all the plane rides and the, being on, because, these flights to Australia and China, I mean, they're 20-hour flights,
Yeah.
But for me, and now I'm platinum membership on every, Delta and every airline. So, you get treated great, never waiting in line. So that stress level isn't there. But for me, when I'm on a plane, it's the only time where, like, my phone is constantly ringing, my emails are constantly coming in.
Right.
It's always, I have a phone thing or an interview or a meeting or I'm just being pulled all over. When I'm on a plane, it's like I'm in this bubble and
Right.
No one can get to me. So it's the only time where I can kind of come up with, read a book or watch a movie I haven't seen or just meditate or just think about stuff.
Remember you used to play video games like crazy? Games?
I still carry around my hacked DS.
Yeah.
Which I probably shouldn't say, but
Nope.
It's totally, I will say it. It's I have every single DS cartridge on a little hard drive. Got that in China, of course. And I still carry that and my phone. I mean, I really, I'm addicted to 3 or 4 phone games. And so when I'm on the road, it's my phone and my DS, my 3DS.
Well, that's that speaks volumes about how much your life has changed and how much the video game industry has changed. Steve Nikolic asks, have you been to a VGL show, Vic? Yes, I've been to, I think 2 or 3 of them.
6. No,
more than that. I've been to one in Edmonton. I was at the first one at the Hollywood Bowl. I sat beside Elijah Wood and Zach Wood, and Stan Lee was signing, and I was meeting people, and it was an unbelievable experience, man. So freaking cool.
Yeah, we did a couple in Vancouver where we actually did. Mm-hmm. There was 2 times you've seen it in Vancouver where we because we actually did reviews.
Yeah.
We reviewed a great game live on stage
that
to
was fun.
3,000 people live. What a vibe that was, right? Because normally when even though hundreds of thousands of people see the reviews, when you're doing it, recording it, it's me and Vic and a camera guy and maybe a sound person. There's 4 people there, but to do it live and to feel that energy and people laughing right away and getting that instant feedback, that was a rush, man.
Oh, that was incredible.
We got to do more of that.
Oh, totally. That was so much fun. We will connect in different places for sure, and we'll do something like that again.
Oh, one of the other shows that was big for us last year, we set another Guinness World Record. We got 4 now. It was the biggest live video game concert ever watched live at once. When we went to Beijing, we teamed up with the Chinese YouTube because they rip everything off, and so they don't have YouTube over there. It's called Yoku.
Yeah.
And Yoku, it's kind of like this. It's a combination of like Twitch and YouTube.
Yeah.
so you can watch live videos, but people can comment on it.
Okay.
And so they were the big sponsors for the show. So we had like, I don't know, 10,000 people there in the stadium watching it live, but they were broadcasting it from their front page. Now, again, there's 1 billion people in China, three times the amount of people that are in the US and Canada combined.
Yeah.
Well, and up on the screen, it showed how many people were watching it live. And when we first started, there was about 300,000 people. By the end of the show, there was over 750,000 people watching it live.
That's awesome.
So I took pictures of the screen and I sent it to Guinness. And so they gave us a world record for the over, if you include the people in the audience, there's like 786,000 people watching a video game concert live.
That is amazing. We have a very important question from JBJ Blaze. Which do you prefer, Mr. Tallarico, an itchy bum or a sore one? Not at all a threat, just a question.
Yes. No, definitely prefer itchiness over soreness.
Okay.
Yeah, because you got your preparation H, you can get rid of that itch. A little baby powder, maybe some talcum down there and stuff. But you got a sore ass, and that's like, that's something that's going to stay with you a couple days.
If you wanted to find out how to solve any itchy problems with your butt, you are watching the right podcast right now. So good job, everybody. Okay, this one is from LH8 Heels. Man, I remember the good old reviews on the Run Judgment Day reviews. My favorite episode was the one with Kakuto Shojin.
I don't even remember that.
What was your favorite part of the review when you when we did the episode? Kakuto Shogun. You kept wanting to go for a pee out of your Kakuto Shogun. That's
right. The one that's the thing I remember is what the hell is a Kakuto Shogun? I still can't say it 15 years later, but yeah.
That was a Microsoft exclusive for the first Xbox. What do we call the first Xbox now?
Didn't I actually pee? Like, didn't I turn around and piss on the side of it? It was because we were in an alley, if I recall. Didn't we do a Batman thing?
A Batman shadow popped up.
A Batman shadow,
We shot in an actual alley. And you know what's funny is that's the alley that every one of the CW superhero shows uses to fight crime. So,
really?
So the Flash is always beating up somebody there, or Green Arrow is.
Well, that's fine. I'll tell you what's even more of a tidbit of information, which you probably don't want me to reveal, is that if you recall, back in the day before the Flash got there, it was literally a desolate place where a lot of homeless people and drugs and hookers.
Oh, yeah.
So totally. I remember, what I remember about that day is like the used condoms and the...
and the needles.
And the needles. Yeah, literally...
That's still a big problem in the downtown east side.
Still, even though the Flash
in Gastown, it's we are the warmest city in Canada, man. So people that are, needing some help, they can live outside here. That's why it ends up being like that.
Amazing.
Okay, this one's great from Mr. Henry. You got a billboard in Shan, China. Do you know how rare that is for a foreign act?
I don't. Is that rare? I don't know.
Well, Mr. Henry's a teacher, so and he's a regular on our podcast and a follower, and we love him. How you doing, Mr. Henry? I think he knows.
Now, did you see the? Did you see if you go to our Video Games Live or any of my pages right now on Facebook, it shows it's how we made that Bollywood movie. Did you see that, Vic?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, so what happened is there's this.
Oh yeah, no, I saw the picture. I saw a screen cap that you're in a Bollywood movie.
Yeah, so somebody who made this Bollywood movie, and the amazing thing about the movie is that it's like a Tron ripoff. So it's like, could they have got Tron? Could they have gotten better? So they do this Tron ripoff in Bollywood style, and the guy who stars in the movie is like the Tom Cruise of Bollywood. He's like the most highest paid, like most famous, good-looking Bollywood actor. So he plays like the main character in this. And what happens is he's about to die. This is towards the end. And
you watch this goddamn movie?
Yes, I link is in the thing. Everyone can watch it, and you can go right to the part where I'm talking about it, because I say, look, go right to this part in the movie, and I give the link. And just all you have to do is click what do they call those? The big pictures on Facebook.
The cover photos?
Cover photos. Just click my cover photo and you can read the whole story and click the link. And at this specific point in the movie, it's at the end, the big scene in this Tron ripoff movie. And now the character's on the ground. He's about to die. And then all of a sudden, he does this epic ball grab. And he grabs the guy's nuts. And you can see the Video Games Live sign in the back as he grabs this asshat's nuts, and then he rips, and then he grabs him by the nuts. He throws him, and the guy gets thrown through the Video Games Live sign.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God! And it's clear as day. And no one asked us for permission.
That's what I was going to ask.
No.
Are you fine with that?
This is the greatest thing that's ever happened in my life.
It is overt promotion for you, for sure.
Right? What are you going to do? And the way I found out is Joey Ray Hall, who one of the original folks who started Blizzard Entertainment, he was watching it because he watches these crazy sci-fi Bollywood movies.
Oh,
and he's
awesome.
like, I can't believe this. And so I only found out about the movie came out a couple of years ago, but I only found out a couple months ago.
That's awesome. Got another one from JBJ Blaze. I'm not sure if I have to rewatch the old shows, which brings up a good point. Everybody that's on here right now, please do us the favor and subscribe, because one of the things that we're doing is we are posting those old shows right back to the days when Tommy and I were hosting.
Yeah.
Even like days when I wasn't hosting and Tommy was the host. And right on through multiple, we can't do it all at once. We have a ton of content, so we're going to do as much as we can, but there is a lot of fun in those old shows.
Now, where are all those old tapes? Are they like in a vault somewhere? Like
yes, exactly.
There literally has to be thousands.
It's ridiculous.
Thousands.
It's ridiculous. And we moved this year, and it was so painful because I think we have the biggest, I'm pretty sure we have the largest video archive of interviews about the video game industry in the world.
Oh my gosh.
And we've been shooting like crazy since 1995. And I want to do something with all this stuff, not just post the old shows, but actually post extended versions of the interviews that we've done, because it's fascinating to go back. Like we were talking to Jason Rubin and Andy Gavin about the formation of Naughty Dog, and now Jason is running Oculus Rift, with Facebook, and he was running THQ, and it's really cool to kind of trace all of this stuff. And I remember David Perry talking about cloud gaming 15, 20 years ago, and that's exactly what he invented, which is incredible. Anyways, he says, what do you think of platform or console exclusives?
I look, my favorite platform over the last decade and a half has been the PlayStation 3, the PlayStation 2 and 3 specifically.
Yeah. Because
of the platform exclusives. I mean, Shadow of the Colossus, Eco, Uncharted, The Last of Us, God of War, Gran Turismo. Bang, so those Sony first party games were so they made that console for me. They really
Nintendo's
did.
got that same formula down with the titles that they invest in, and Xbox has been going very strong with their investments over the last little while. Phil Spencer, I think, has made a huge difference.
Well, I think
you're right. If you look at
Nintendo needs to start doing games for the Xbox and PlayStation. they need to go by like the way of Sega, I think, at this point. Come on.
I think they're going to go in I think they're out of the, I feel like we've had this discussion so many times, but I think their next move, because they're making a lot of money right now. They're actually doing very well with the Amiibo stuff, and now they're going to get into the mobile space. So that is their first foray into developing for other platforms.
Right.
And who knows?
Well, they've been forced there, though, because, the DS, the handheld is going to go away because of these damn things, right?
Yeah.
And as much as I love the DS, by the way, but the Wii U, come on, Vic. How many hours have you put in the Wii U?
Well, I put hours into the games that Nintendo publishes, and that's it.
You have to review, right?
I got to review them, and that's the problem, sure. But I think what they recognize is that, and they've said this, they're very public about it, that Wii U didn't have enough multi-touch functionality in this wave of all of these, iPads and tablets. But I think they created something pretty remarkable with Super Mario Maker, where they utilized the tablet or their Wii gamepad Wii U
Yeah.
gamepad in a really interesting way. And I think
10 years later, it still sounds stupid and silly when you
the
say,
The Wii
Wii, I got
as
my
the name.
Wii.
Well, Wii U didn't do them any favors,
I
man.
got a Wii U.
I
Wii.
mean, everybody thought it was just a control system. They didn't think it was a new console when that came out.
Yeah,
If they
yeah,
were
yeah,
on the
exactly.
outside, and there was no way they were going to get that same replication of, because the Wii was a phenomenon. And
Here's here's the
but I
crazy.
do think they're going to stay on this track of appealing to a sort of a broader demo and not get into the technological horse race, but they're going to implement the portable functionality of some kind of a tablet type thing, and it will also be a console. So you're going to be able to own the Nintendo games that you have and play them anywhere, but also plug into a television.
So here's my prediction.
Yeah.
Um, Disney will buy them. There you go.
Yeah.
Disney buys everybody. Why wouldn't they buy Nintendo?
Well, it would make a lot of sense, wouldn't it?
You know,
Yeah.
seriously, think about it. Think
Yeah.
about it. Disney buying Nintendo would be the best thing that ever happened to Nintendo.
Well, that would
Best thing
really
that happened to
limit
Star
what they
Wars.
could do with. I guess they're such a behemoth right now. They're on top of the world with all the stuff that they own.
Disney. Yeah,
They could own Nintendo and still make games for the other guys.
exactly. Hey, why do you think so? Isn't it interesting? Would you agree with me?
Yeah.
I think this new system, right? The new platforms have been out for 2.5 years now, right?
Yes.
I'm still playing my PlayStation 3 way more than my PlayStation 4. Xbox One, Wii U, this has been the slow. Usually when a new platform comes out,
Yeah.
it's the new thing, and you don't, and then it's like it catches on within like 6 months to a year. It's been a couple years now, and still you don't feel that like excitement, like, oh my God, this is so next gen. This is the bit that I'm still playing like old games from last gen. And by the way, still enjoying them.
Well, last year was awesome. There were a lot of great games, and I think the promise of
What was your favorite game from last year?
Batman Arkham Knight. But that's a pretty easy one to predict. But they had a really, really strong year. All the new machines and PC games and Wii U as well had a really strong year. And it did feel like the developers had to catch up with it. I think the expectation as smart TVs and cloud gaming and all the hype around the box-less interactive future was starting to happen, just as even PlayStation was bubbling all that up with Gaikai, right? They were talking about that we're not going to need consoles soon. PlayStation was. And I think that really scared the developers away. Also, the mobile money was really attractive to a lot of developers, so they went into the mobile direction. But what happened is, and I thought about this recently, is that the consumers, if they want to stay home and be entertained by video games, they don't have that many choices. They have to choose and kind of pick their battle on what they're going to play, but they're going to go in the direction of a PlayStation or an Xbox or a Nintendo machine, And I think there's still value in that, but I think the developers were really gun-shy to commit, and the publishers were really gun-shy to overcommit. So we had a couple of really slow years. 2014 was awful. It was just such a dismal year. But 2015, Witcher 3, Dying Light, Metal Gear Solid 5, Batman Arkham Knight, Fallout 4. I'm forgetting tons, but we had a lot of really, really good titles, and it was Bloodborne, Super Mario Maker, Splatoon was a big surprise. There was a lot of stuff that we, weren't expecting to have as much fun as we did, And now 2016 looks pretty good too.
So for anyone just joining on the YouTube channel, Vic, tell them what we have to do, and if they want to come in and ask us questions, because they came directly from YouTube.
There's supposed to be a link on the YouTube page to join the Q&A, and I think there are some comments on the page too. I'll take a look at that right now. I have a question from Captain Canuck. I would pay good money for a box set of EP. How does that sound to you as a way to get it out? Pardon me?
Kickstarter.
As a way to get it out there to the fans. Also, I would like the music tracks that you played during the EP over the years and initial intro song included. A lot of that is your music, Tommy, and then we've licensed some pretty cool music over the years as well. We've paid for a couple of other compositions along the way too. People really have a fondness for your tracks, though, man. When we started posting the first season episodes with that old Skybike song.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Well,
total nostalgia for people.
if you want to check out the full version of that track, it's on. You can actually buy this on Amazon. Download it, just the single track if you wanted to. But it's off. It's on Tommy Tallarico's Greatest Hits Volume 2, which I think came out in like 1995 or 96. But on there, you'll see. You can just listen to it. I don't have an album with me because I think it's called Skybike or something. Yeah, it's on there, so you can. But a lot of the tracks we used for EP are on that album actually. Here's a question, Tommy. What's your favorite game of 2015?
Yeah.
By David Hinkle. I'm a big. Let me see. I want to think about this. I'm gonna pick a console game. I'm not gonna go with phone stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm a big Formula fan. I'm a big Ferrari guy.
Yeah.
Woo! And so the new Formula game came out for 2015. I've probably been playing that the most. So I always say the game I like the most is the one I play the most. So
Right.
I've probably played that more than any other game, even though, what the heck what came out for the play? What else did we play? I didn't really.
You were never home.
I know it was
And
tough.
you're taking those consoles into PAL territories and different power
Yeah, no,
places.
you can't do that.
Yeah.
Let
Do
me
you
see
travel
what
with the
else.
consoles? You ever
No.
bring them with you?
No. I got like guitars and guitar pedals and merchandise that were, so it's too much
Do you
to.
play any PC things? Do you have a Steam account?
I have a Steam account, and the only time I play Steam stuff is when I have to like research stuff for Video Games Live. So, for example, remember the very first time I ever played this game, and we played it because it first came out. Remember the game Siberia?
Yeah.
On the PC?
Yeah.
And when that first came, I think it came out on the Mac
Yep.
too. One of the few games
Very
that
cool
came out on
adventure
the
game, yeah.
Mac. Yeah, it was really like cool and stuff. So now this year they came out with Siberia 3.
Right.
And so they wanted to put it in Video Games Live. So I had to go back and play Siberia 1, Siberia 2, and Siberia 3. And we kind of did this montage and did the world premiere at Gamescom. So I use a Steam account to play old games, but I don't really play new games on it. And I'm not in the World of Warcraft and League of Legends. Like, I don't play them because I just don't have the time, but I know all about them because I research the crap out of them, and I watch. It's easier to watch other people playing the game, so I'll go on like YouTube and just watch the championship games to learn, and then I create all the videos for the show based on what the publishers and the developers give me, but what I kind of see that's popular on YouTube and stuff. But
yeah, that's a whole, new sort of way that people are getting their information around these things. And I'm wondering, like I ask this of people when I stream too, is that are people choosing not to purchase after they've watched these games because they've really gotten a lot of what the content is? Do they need to go out and buy the game afterwards? And I don't know how much statistic or data there is around that. I think what's happening with most of the streaming or the biggest streaming games are the free ones or the Minecrafts or things like that, which are sort of perpetual and never ending. So people can always sort of tune into all of that stuff.
Right.
But, I would have to think that if people were watching a bunch of Until Dawn streams, they're getting, which was a really cool horror game that came out for the PS4 last year. They're getting a lot of the scares and the content of what's in the game, so that's got to impact sales. It's totally interesting what's happening with everything right now. And
now,
it is amazing. Have you ever streamed? Have you ever played a game for other people?
No,
it's fun, man.
I don't get it. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't get watching other people play video games live. I don't. Maybe I'm just too old. I don't know. I just don't get it. I'd rather, if I have that kind of time on my hands, I want to be playing the game and not watching others. But that's because I'm not in that world of competitive gaming. Now, if I was a competitive gamer, I totally see, hey, you want to see how people do things. You want to get strategies. You want to, that's super interesting. I can see where it's interesting. It's just, it's not for me personally.
Well,
but
here's the mind switch because I was, because I think one of the things that you worry about is like you're being judged for your skills, right? When you play and you open up the kimono. Oops, sorry. You open up the kimono on playing a game, and you think that, oh my God, everybody's going to see that I'm not that great at this shooter or whatever. But it's really
Right.
not about that. It's work. It's kind of like couch co-op, you know, because we're
Right.
all playing alone these days. We're playing online, and then when you open it up, and especially for people like you or for me, uh, I think they just kind of think it's fun to play a game or watch a game with us, and they're
Right.
commenting along and they help. And I was playing Uncharted. They re-released the Uncharted collection last year, and I had so much fun streaming that because I'd forgotten all
You
of
idiot! Go get, pick
yeah,
up the box, you
it
dumbass!
was great because I was totally stuck and I was going back to the audience and asking, "What the
Cheating.
hell do I do?"
I don't
And they
even
were
need game
screaming
code.
comments and they were
Yeah.
helping me through the game. And then it was like, "Oh,
Live.
okay,
That's
this is
funny.
different. This can different. This can." What'd you do? You know who
What?
does this, and I think you'd be surprised by it, is Freddie Prinze Jr.,
Oh
who,
yeah.
yeah, he's a gamer, and he was a major character in the last Dragon Age game, Bad Bull or something like that, Iron Bull, and he just gets up on Twitch and just invites a bunch of people in and has fun with it, and I think that's kind of cool, you know. But it is, you kind of have to just make that shift and say, okay, I'm going to do this, and I would love it if you and I could figure out, and other people that I know in the business could figure out a way to get online together and stream out and chat back and forth. And yeah, but this was the first for us, just doing this Google Hangout thing here. So, we'll take that step when we get to it.
So okay, check this out. Alex from Alex Snell from Calgary asks about, hey, why don't you guys review a game or a movie together right now, and maybe Star Wars.
Yes,
So let's do a Star Wars
absolutely.
movie review, because just to set this up for people, before, like, me and Vic were together, not in the biblical sense, before
Almost. Remember that hot tub?
well, yeah, in Vegas. Hot tub in Vegas. Not only just a hot tub, but a hot tub in Vegas. It was crazy.
Okay, enough said.
So me and Vic, we've been together so long that we were together before the prequels came out,
Yeah.
right? And in
saw
fact,
episode 1 together.
we saw episode 1 together in
Yeah.
San Francisco, right near Skywalker Ranch.
Yeah.
Waited in line and saw the first showing of it. Waited in line. People were having lightsaber battles and this and that. Anyway,
I still remember your face afterwards.
after the first movie, after watching episode 1,
After Phantom Menace, because I was falling asleep. We saw a midnight show, right? We wanted to go see it early, this first one that we could.
Yeah, at midnight. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was falling asleep, and you were just like, "What the fuck was that?"
I hated it. I hated it.
It was such a letdown, man. I know.
But you liked it. You were like trying to like
I was
everything.
in the apologizing for it mode. You know what? To this day, there are still a couple of things that are cool about it, but Jake Lloyd ruins it, and Jar Jar Binks ruins it, and Natalie Portman.
I want to tell everybody watching us now. How many people watching right now at this time?
175.
Okay, I want to tell the 175 people that are watching that the guy on the screen, not me, but the other guy on the screen, he actually liked the 4th Indiana Jones movie. How do you talk to somebody like this?
They know that. I hope they know that. Come on. It was fun.
Have a discussion with somebody who likes the 4th Indiana Jones movie.
Well, I just block out all the shit that Harrison Ford's not in. I like just watching Harrison Ford. He's great, man.
God. Okay, so let's review Star Wars really quick.
Okay. Harrison Ford. Awesome.
We've never talked about this. Harrison Ford, he was okay. Yeah, he was. Look, I'll say this. Let me preface by saying this. Every single time a new original character appeared on screen, I don't know what the fuck George Lucas put in my cereal when I was a kid or whatever, but every time a new character, whether it was R2, C-3PO, Leia, Luke, you name it, of course Han Solo, who's my favorite character, every time they appeared for the first time, Chewbacca, I started crying. Wow. Like, what the, like, and not just like kind of swelling up, tears streaming down my eyes just because they were on screen.
I know.
It was like, oh my God. Like, so the whole thing, by the end of it, I was just like so emotionally spent. Like,
That's
just
awesome.
like I'd been crying. I'd been like just amazed at the graphics and the look and the Millennium Falcon and then this and then that. And when I watched it, it was just amazing, blah, blah, blah. I'd probably give it like, when I first watched it, I'd probably give it like an 8.5. Okay.
Yeah.
And then after and then you're just like in this dream state for like a day. And then I made the mistake of going online and started seeing like the hardcores, and we're hardcore, but you know, started seeing other people's reviews of it and all the questions they were bringing up. And then the fact that they're like, this was the same exact movie as the first one. And I'm like thinking about it going, son of a bitch, it was. and then it started to like pull down.
Did you see it again though?
Like, I haven't seen it again. No.
Okay. Because here's what happened with me. I saw it. I gave it an 8.5.
Oh, it's so right on board.
Yeah, and I think I still feel like the death of spoilers. And if you haven't seen this, it's ridiculous.
If you haven't seen it, hit mute.
Yeah, the death of Solo was totally undercut, and it was powerful, but it could have been much more powerful. I've said this a lot, but Chewbacca and Leia don't have that moment of acknowledgement and consoling each other.
I hated that part. That was the worst part of the movie right there, was that it's just,
imagine that would have been real tears, you know, not just nostalgic tears. That would have been like, holy shit, this guy, he left a huge gaping hole in the center of the Star Wars universe. He's gone forever.
And the thing is I was more pissed at that scene than I was sad. And they could have created it where I was sad, I was in tears.
Totally.
Creed, to me, is the sleeper hit of
that. Was an amazing movie.
I know you liked it too. I've seen a couple of your Facebook posts, and yes, they totally. Stallone got the nod in the Oscars for supporting actor. God, I hope he wins. He won the Golden Globe last week. Yeah. But you know, when Rocky sat down by Adrian and Paulie's tombstones, reading the paper, I lost it. And you know what a big fan I am of.
Totally. Oh yeah, that was powerful.
The biggest one, you know, right?
Let's see what's going on in the world today.
Yeah, and when he was so lonely and you could see it, it was just, and they could have had that opportunity in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Do all that stuff, and they blew it. So I felt ripped off.
Here's the thing, though, that I think that JJ had to, you know, he had to overcome, and just the fact that he made a good movie is just a miracle, right?
Thank God, by the way, right?
He had so much weight on him and so much pressure to not fuck it up, because they've got a whole industry sort of scheduled around this thing being a success.
First world problems. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, but you know what I mean? Like, imagine
so much pressure he had to make Star Wars. Oh my God, it was awful.
What if it had been another Phantom Menace? You know, what if it had gone too risky and everybody's like, oh Jesus, you know, it would have been brutal. And he did. He pulled off a great movie. All the new leads are so fun and so cool, and the nostalgic beats were pretty damn awesome. They could have been a little stronger.
The music was amazing.
The music was amazing. They left the door open for lots of stuff. But my favorite thing about Star Wars is that it's back, and we are still talking about it, and we are questioning what the future is. And there's that same level of hysteria that we felt with the original trilogy. And that wasn't around with the prequel trilogy, right? The second one was like, okay, what you got for us this time?
Now,
by the third one, it was like, I don't think this is going to be good, but I'll go. You know?
Did you read George Lucas's comments about what he thought of the new movie? He didn't like it.
It breaks my heart, man, because it was a great movie, and it honored his work for sure. And he should have just bit his tongue and said that it was, you know, it's. I would imagine it must.
During all the Nintendo reviews we did, you bit your tongue. You said good things, even though you didn't mean it.
I love Nintendo. I love those games. You son of a bitch. I love those games. Leave me alone on that. No, but I love Lucas, and I have so much respect for him, and I think he brought the world so much more than Star Wars, like all of the ILM stuff and Pixar and nonlinear editing,
LucasArts
and LucasArts and
Monkey Island.
Like he's just been like a cultural, you know, fountain of awesome kind of ideas. You know, he took that success and he just went poof, and he generated massive industries around this stuff.
Well, I had the great
he's
pleasure of having dinner.
He's fallible, you know.
I had the amazing honor of having dinner with George Lucas. It was probably, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago, and I asked him, and there's actually pictures of me and George up on my Facebook.
I was there, brother.
Yeah, you were at that show?
I was there because you invited me. I was there. Janet Jackson was up on stage. I don't know how I was there. I know, it's crazy.
How come I don't remember you being there?
Well, I sat. You wanted to sit right beside George. I don't blame you. I was on the other side of the table, and I was talking to you. I think your friends from AMD were there, and I was
Charlie and stuff.
Yeah. So you invited me, and I was like honored to be there. Janet Jackson waved at me. It was a surreal night for me too.
So the one question I asked George is, I said, what's your favorite Star Wars game, Star Wars video game? Because I told him I was in the video game industry and this and that. And I said, what's your favorite Star Wars video game? And he looks at me and he goes, it hasn't been made yet.
Yeah. Well, I asked him on the MTV movie line. That was the first time I talked to him. I said, what would you say to people that are, you know, watching this right now, because we were making EP as a video game show, who really, really want to work in at LucasArts and make awesome games for your company? And he turned to me and he said, well, if they're really, really good, they can come and they can make movies for me.
Ouch.
So I don't think games were high on the pecking order for Mr. George Lucas. Crazy dude. All right, here we have a question from Hexmind. Do you think a TV channel totally dedicated to video games would be viable?
We were just talking about this before we went on air, because I was saying, God, what a shame that G4 sucked so bad, because it was such a great idea and concept. Yeah. And I think in the end, they let me see, how can I say this and not be like George Lucas on the new Star Wars?
They overspent, man. I mean, that's the bottom line. They were in Los Angeles and they had to keep up with the Joneses. They had to pay what MTV was paying down the street, and MTV's ratings were about 1,000 times better than G4's. For
me, it's like they literally should have hired you to be the vice president of programming.
I mean, that sounds arrogant for me to say, but I agree with you. But I was too young still. I was still, you know, I had never made a daily show back then. I'd only made the weekly shows. We were able to spin off. I had to learn a lot of stuff. And now in retrospect, it's like, yeah, man, I should have been pushing harder to take a little bit more editorial control with those guys. But setting up shop in Los Angeles is a nice media play, but suddenly you're playing, you know, in a very crowded, competitive field, and egos go crazy, and you know, suddenly it has to be about celebrity and superstars, and you got to turn video game people into superstars, and it's just too much pressure, and the content lost its way. It just wasn't truthful, you know. And I think when they started, I think the first couple of years of G4 were actually a little bit more experimental. They used to run these kind of walkthroughs, and people would tell people, you know, how much they love a game, and then they would just run little sort of mini interstitial documentaries about people's passion for this stuff. And then they had the Icon show, and, you know, they had some good ideas and good directions, but ultimately it became a business that needed to pay for itself. And
they weren't hiring gamers to do this stuff.
I know.
It was hiring TV producers and models instead of people who knew what they were talking about. And that's not to disparage any of the people. It's not their fault, but a lot of the, you know, a lot of the hosts back then were not hardcore gamers. I mean, I think that's a fair comment. And
the other side, and the other party of this, though, totally. But the other party in this is the video game industry itself. You know, like, this is a medium that has matured and has grown into a lot of people's lives, but there is a complacency on the part of video games and video game companies to get involved in storytelling that's good for everybody. You know, like, people are really doing their silos and their Facebook posts and sponsoring YouTubers right now. And it feels like so much is kind of left to people to come up with, and fans just, you know, sort of bubble up. And I'm not taking anything away from YouTubers and Twitch streamers and stuff like that have made awesome businesses for themselves and have huge audiences and stuff. But I think the truth of it is video games still have a way to go to matter to more people And that's not going to happen if the video game industry is complacent. You know, you don't see the sports industry just sitting back and waiting for people to write stories for them and do things about them. They get involved, you know, and if they're going to be building networks around sports, they're participatory and they help those networks succeed. You know, I mean, there's a golf channel, for Christ's sake. There should be a video game channel, you know, like, there's several food channels. There should be a video game channel with great content that people respect. And, you know,
it'll come back someday.
I agree. And I think what's got to happen is the game companies have to participate and work together, you know, like the movie studios are all kind of forced and have been forced to work together on the entertainment shows that have been around for a long time, even the E! Network and stuff like that. They're all helping to make that thing a success. Game companies have to do the same thing.
Yeah, I got
another question. Oh, look at that. Oh, man. Looks a little scared.
No, I just woke him up, so
okay.
Doesn't know what's going on.
I look like that when I wake up, too.
Vic. That's Vic.
Hello. Hi. Hello.
Oh,
succotash.
I don't know.
Wow, he's crazy.
Okay, I got one here. I was fortunate enough to meet Tommy in Thunder Bay, Ontario, Canada. That's where my wife is from a few years ago.
Really?
And I'd love to meet Vic someday as well. Is there any chance of meeting you both together in the future at a convention, for example? It would be a childhood dream come true.
Fan Expo, we've done some stuff together in the past in Toronto in August.
I don't know if I'm going to Fan Expo yet. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's up in the air right now.
Yeah, I missed Fan Expo this past time. Now, I didn't know Marcy was from Thunder Bay.
Yes, she is.
You know the most famous person to come out of Thunder Bay?
Marcy.
No.
Okay.
Paul Schaefer from Late Night with David Letterman. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Ontario. Yeah.
We actually had Rich Grundy, who works at CBC now. He was a camera operator for us for a long time. He was up on stage when we did our Video Games Live review on the run there. He is from Thunder Bay, and then he had a couple of other buddies that worked behind the scenes on EP, and he was from Thunder Bay. So they had this little cabal going. But I would love to be at Fan Expo this year. Is that going to time out with your wackadoo schedule in 2016?
I have no idea. We're doing 36 days in China in September.
Amazing.
We're doing 15 shows. Hey, one last question about Star Wars that you can answer.
Well, I'll tell you this. I saw it again.
Okay.
And all of my complaints started because the first time you're watching the movie in your head as it's being presented, your expectations, and you're kind of weighing them against each other. The second time you kind of know the thing, you've had time to kind of obsess about the choices, and you just go and you just appreciate what they built. And they built something awesome. And I don't agree with this idea that it's just a mirror of episode 4. I think that there are definitely allusions and homages and things that tie. I'm not crazy that they went with another Death Star. I think that's kind of crazy. But it raised in my estimation. The only thing I could never forgive is Leia and Chewie never got to hug. I wanted to hear Chewie go and hug Leia, and I would have been a fucking mess like everybody in the world.
Exactly. So here's my question. Why is Leia and Han's son so goddamn ugly? Can you answer me that? He looks nothing like either of them.
People have done side-by-side video pictures or stills of Adam Driver and Harrison Ford. He's got a long nose and a similar kind of, I mean, he looks a little, he's a big lanky dude.
Yeah, it didn't make sense to me.
He's just not as handsome as our hero.
Yeah. Because Leia Leia in the day, you kidding me? She had those Jabba boobs going on, and that was a big deal when she was a slave. Leia, Jabba boobs. Okay, another question. So the big ass bad guy, was he really that big, or is that a projection? I don't get it.
I think that's a projection, and the rumor is that he is Darth Plagueis, who is a guy that gets talked about in episode 3. He was because this is the thing, right? Like, now they've introduced a lot of cool tidbits and morsels. I just tweeted out the trailer for part 2 of Star Wars Rebels. Are you watching this animated show? It's amazing. They've done a great. Clone Wars is incredible too. You got to watch all those. But they've given us some tidbits to kind of obsess over, and the speculation is that he is Darth Plagueis. And I just watched this video where somebody had played back the scene where the Emperor is talking to Anakin in Episode 3, and the same music is playing under that scene as is playing under the scene where Kylo Ren is talking to Snoke. And so if he's Darth Plagueis, his big deal is that he can bring people back to life. So through using the Force, the dark side of the Force. So the speculation is that Kylo may have been converted to the dark side because he wants Plagueis to revive Darth Vader, his grandfather, which gets freaky.
Which, by the way, where did you get that helmet from?
I don't know, dude.
Buy that off eBay. Okay. Hey, there's so many questions here. I'm gonna just run through. I'm gonna give like 1 or 2 word answers because I don't want anyone to miss some stuff. Yeah. So let me see. Okay, what's your favorite game?
We got a Marvel Batman, or Marvel, and I'll ask this. It's from David Chapman. How you doing, David? So Captain America: Civil War will have a new Spider-Man, and Dawn of Justice will have a new Batman, both coming out this year. That's true. New Batman and a new Spider-Man. Crazy. Will your friendship survive the competition? I'm way more excited about Civil War than I am Superman versus Batman.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, look, I will say this. Vic was in a very dark place for a very long time when it came to Batman video games, Spider-Man video games. We used to kick his ass all up and down the joint. But then the shift happened about, I don't know, 6-7 years ago.
With
and
Arkham,
the Batman with the original Arkham. And the Batman games are just so amazing now. So he's in a happier place, I think.
And there are no new Spider-Man games. The best Spider-Man games are the ones that were out for the PlayStation 2 and Shattered Dimensions. Did you play that one?
Yeah, that was amazing. Yeah,
that was incredible. Yeah.
David Hinkle asks, Tommy, what's your favorite music you've done live? I love Libre Fatale from Nobuo Uematsu, Final Fantasy VIII. That's always a great one to play live. So powerful. But I'm going to be, I love playing One Winged Angel because I play guitar, and Castlevania on guitar. I love Skyrim. It's so powerful. Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross. There's so many incredible things. They asked, SNES or Genesis? For me, it was Genesis.
For me, it's the SNES.
Yeah, so, well, there you go. See, that's perfect. We could do
the root of our friendship, right there.
We could root of our problem. We could have a 6-hour argument just on why Genesis was better.
I was not a Nintendo guy. I was a Genesis guy, and then I babysat a kid, and he had a Super Nintendo hooked up to a stereo TV, and fuck, I forget the name of the game. But it was in stereo and it was beautiful, and I was like, "Oh my god, the Genesis cannot do this."
You're talking about ActRaiser, I bet.
ActRaiser, yes,
right?
Gorgeous.
How did I know?
Memory.
No,
yes, good memory, brother. Yeah, and that blew my mind, and I switched to Super Nintendo after that. And I was thinking about this too. I think that there's a very interesting discussion about Nintendo 64 versus PlayStation 1. Because I know you like PlayStation 1 more, but definitely in the rear view, the Nintendo 64 games mattered to me more than the PlayStation 1 games.
Clearly insane.
Nope.
Metal Gear Solid. Okay, that's all I have to say. 3 words, Metal Gear Solid. Okay.
Zelda, Ocarina of Time, Super Mario 64, Jet Force Gemini, Diddy Kong Racing.
Jet Force Gemini, come on, you're reaching. Okay.
I love that game.
High Heat Baseball, IH Heels. I hate heels. High Heat Baseball is a great, he's probably short like me. High Heat Baseball is a great nostalgic review. Did Tommy actually leave the studio or the park when you tried to defend the game?
Oh, yeah, he did.
I did, but it was kind of played up. I mean, we kind of, I wasn't really pissed. I just had to go to the airport because we were late for the airport, remember? Yeah. But it wasn't like I stormed
you were pissed, and you left, and I think we had to call you to get the microphone back. You had to bring the cab back. You were still wearing our mic.
See, I don't remember. I don't remember really.
The guys and going, yeah, he just left. He just left. And he's got our fucking microphone. Tommy, you got to come back.
I don't remember really being pissed. I was probably playing it up to get some attention, but I I don't really remember being upset.
Well, there's a new Homeworld game that's coming out soon, and
oh, well, I'm sure I'll hate that.
I would
Great.
love to review
Let's
that
review
with
that
you.
with yes.
I
Let's.
would love to
Piece of
review that
shit.
with you.
Oh, I hated that game. Boring pile of crap.
No, a beautiful game. Scott felt the same way though. It was so funny. It was total
Scott
deja
didn't
vu.
like it? Yeah.
Yeah, we did because they re-released the originals and he had never played them, and so he it's a pretty obtuse experience, you know, when you're jumping into that thing. You have to control so many different spaceships. It's a big mess, and you kind of just have to give yourself over to it. You know that it's going to take hours to get through the tutorial,
Right.
but it's beautiful once you kind of crack it a little bit, you know, and then it kicks your ass, but it's a gorgeous, beautiful, unique game. You know, that's why I'm so stoked that it's coming back. I might be the only one.
You keep telling yourself that. Donnie S., who's clearly a guitar player, because I see him playing a guitar in his avatar.
Yep.
He says, "What is my favorite instrument that I own?" And his baby, so to speak. So if you Google, the guitar company is called Taya. It's spelled Teye, Taya, and they're out of Austin, Texas. And so my Taya guitar. Just Google the Azteca Taya. You'll see it come up. It's the most beautiful piece of, and they're all like kind of custom one-offs, but mine is you'll see the Aztec, and it's turquoise and all hand-carved wood, and it's beautiful. That, to me, it's the one I play on stage a lot. I also like my Spider-Man is a custom Gibson Les Paul. It's called the.
Do you play that?
Yeah, oh yeah, I play it for Castlevania every night. That's how we open the show, and it's called the Web Slinger 1. So if you put in Gibson Les Paul Web Slinger 1, they only made 75 of them back in the 80s, all hand signed by Stan Lee, mother of pearl web inlays. I mean, it's awesome. Beautiful.
Have you seen Stan Lee recently?
I haven't. I can't believe the dude's still alive. I mean, and I'm saying this in a good way, but like, he was old 20 years ago when we were hanging out with him.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And he's got to be in his 90s, yeah? What was he, 92, 93?
I think he's just turned 90. It's either 92 or 93.
Yeah.
We did something cool when he turned 90. And I got to think we were the only TV shows in the world that did this. We devoted a half-hour VP and a half-hour reviews on the run to all of our favorite Stan Lee moments and memories
and interviews. Yeah, we interviewed him like 3 or 4 times at least.
And then we had lots of people from the industry, the video game and the comics and the toys and movies, talking about Stan Lee and wishing him happy birthday.
Here's how cool. Here's how cool Stan Lee is that when I launched Video Games Live, I started the company back in 2002, but I really launched it in 2005, which is the real reason why eventually by 2007, I had to leave EP and Reviews on the Run, because I just couldn't. We were doing 2 TV shows, 104 episodes a year. And in 2007, I was doing like 55 Video Games Live. I just couldn't, didn't have enough time. But this is how cool Stan Lee is. I have his email address, right? And for the record, he's on AOL. And I am too.
I think it's you and him.
Me and him are on AOL still.
Yeah.
And so I emailed Stan Lee, and I invited him to go to the very first Video Games Live concert, which was in July 6th, 2005 at the Hollywood Bowl with the LA Philharmonic. And I said, hey, could you come to my show? Because I had worked with Stan on the Spider-Man, the original PlayStation Spider-Man game, which was a really great game.
Yeah.
And I worked with him for a week doing narrations and writing scripts and stuff. And I asked him, I said, could you come to the show? And he said, yeah, I'd love to show up. And he came there, and he sat right next to Vic and Elijah Wood. And that's how. And I'll tell you the other thing. I have a Spider-Man room in my house for the people who know me, and it's got I have every Spider-Man thing ever invented, a whole room of Spider-Man. And and so I took a picture of it, and I asked Stan Lee. I said, "Hey, I just want to show you my Spider-Man room." And he writes back, I'll never forget it. I still have the email. I printed it out, and I put it in the Spider-Man room in a frame, actually. And he says, "Kid, you got a problem."
That sounds like him. And he doesn't even have that much Spider-Man stuff in his place.
No, he does not.
I love that dude, man. He is, you know, I have some heroes out there, but he is at the top of my heroes. You know, he's just a guy that just never lost his youthful attachment to
always,
imagination and building and dreaming. I love it.
And no matter how much money he made, he always wanted to be accessible to the fans. I mean, here's a guy who's worth literally hundreds of millions of dollars, and he'll still show up at some small Comic-Con and sign autographs for 5 hours.
Oh, he's amazing.
Come on.
He sent us at EP, he sent us a Christmas card one year that was a 70s Spider-Man Christmas card, and he wrote everybody's name in there and framed it, man. It's just a beautiful dude. I love that guy. You know, it's amazing. It's amazing to watch him watch his creations become the biggest things in the world.
Well, here's the thing, though, that people got to remember too, and me and you, again, we know this because we were there. Yeah. But even in the mid '90s, no one knew who Stan Lee was.
Oh, I know.
Marvel didn't care about.
Dude, remember they were going out of business. From Toy Fair to Marvel with the president of Marvel, and like they were worth $100 million then. They
were about to go out of business.
Somebody could have bought everything for $100 million.
That's
everything.
Right. And me and Vic we had done an interview with the president of Marvel at the time, and Vic and him, he's like, yeah, come on, let's go to Marvel. And we walked through New York City with the president of Marvel. This is how accessible people were back then.
It was Bill Jemas.
And Bill Jemas as that, and we were in the bullpen, and we were talking to everybody was just there, and Stan Lee, no one even knew who Stan Lee was really, except for the super hardcore fans. Now it's like this billion-dollar industry,
and they're, you know what, they deserve it, man. They're killing it. Like honestly, you look at that track record of these movies. Like, what did you think of Age of Ultron?
I even liked Ant-Man. Are you kidding me?
I loved Ant-Man. Yeah, I was. Yeah. It was the same thing. The first time I didn't like it as much. Saw it again. I liked it a lot more.
I thought the casting was a little weird. I didn't like I like the story. But I thought the actors who they chose to be the characters, I thought could have been better. Yeah, that's a fair comment. But it included
Evangeline.
Evangeline was in that movie from the Judgment Day. You may know her from things like Judgment Day and Lost, and Lord of the Rings. But we know her as the JD girl.
And I was auditioning her to be a host, right? You know the story because she was great. Like she was so smart, and I always felt so embarrassed. Saying, okay, put on this crazy T-shirt, and then we're going to put a fan on, and you're going to pretend to. Play with these controllers. Yeah. And she was way smarter, but she was great at that gig. And I thought, okay, this is ridiculous. You would be an amazing host if you're into this stuff. Let's do an audition thing. And I actually have an audition tape of her, and she was wonderful. And have I told you this? I didn't know that she got lost. I didn't know that she was on Lost. And I was calling her agent to book her again for Judgment Day. And he said, and reviews. He said, no, she doesn't do any non-union stuff anymore because we're a low budget non-union show. And I thought, oh, she must have got some cool commercial or something like that. And Marcy and I were on a flight, I think, to Toy Fair or something like that. And I'm reading a Newsweek, and there's a full page ad of Lost with just her. And I'm like, holy shit, man! She's huge. She's in an ABC TV show, and I couldn't believe it. And and she's so good too, which blows me away. Is that she took that and ran with it. She was awesome on that show. She was great in Lord of the Rings. She's great in Ant-Man. I can't wait to see how she pulls off the Wasp now, because they're going to make a sequel to that. So, amazing, yeah.
Cool. Katsumi asks how many guitars I have. When I travel with 10 guitars when I'm in North America. When I do outside of the U.S., like China and Brazil and Europe, I only carry 2 with me, an acoustic and an electric. Yeah. But I have a total of, I think, 13 or 14 guitars, but I travel with 10 of them.
Okay.
In the U.S. and Canada.
So
let me see. Oh, Joe Hallen asks, Tommy, how often do you refresh your VGL playlist? Every show. We're actually in the Guinness Book of World Record as the longest running touring symphony show. We've done the most shows. We actually surpassed Bugs on Broadway, which is amazing because they've been around for like 30 years. But we've done more symphonic more symphonic shows as a tour than any other in the history of the universe. And we're in the Guinness for that. But I've never played the same show twice, ever. So we have over 150 segments that I've created now for Video Games Live over the last 13 years. And
do you still have Zelda and the Mario, the ones that I cut?
Well, we still have those, and we'll play those once in a while. Yeah, but we have like 5 different Zelda things now and 4 or 5 different Mario things. But yeah, but Vic, and when I first started Video Games Live, like I said, we were still working full time with Vic and everything. And so the whole first show of Video Games Live at the Hollywood Bowl was cut. Vic personally cut Mario and Zelda himself, and then
awesome.
His team cut the whole show. But yeah, we still play those. Yeah, for sure.
That was surreal to be in the Hollywood Bowl and to see the video pieces that I cut and people react to them, you know, because I tried to add a little funny bit at the end of the thing. And yeah, totally surreal. I have to ask about, you know, we did 25 seasons of EP, which it blew my mind. And I think we had a really, really fun season last year, but we wrapped up the show, and there's been, of course, not only is it 25 seasons, it was a dream I had in 1995. So it's 20 years of Electric Playground. What is your fondest memory of working on the show, working with me, or working, you know, the coolest segment that you did, or what do you think back on and reflect on with a smile?
Well, it's interesting because when I think of, like, when I do Video Games Live and we do the meet and greets after the show, the thing that everyone always brings up is the high heat baseball review and giving the 0 and this and that. So like, that's become like a part of my, so ingrained in my memory. At the time, it wasn't, you know, but now that I've seen it so much, and it's probably the most watched review that was ever done on Reviews on the Run, probably, but so many people know about and comment on it. And by the way, I can tell a little side story before I answer the question. The funniest thing about that review is that I think you were with me, Vic. I don't remember, but like the next E3 that happened, I believe me and you were at a party.
Yeah.
The producer of the game, High Heat Baseball, came up to me and talk about awkward. And he's like, oh, I'm the producer of High Heat Baseball. I saw your review. I'm like, oh, really? and he was kind of like, dude, you were brutal. And I'm like, well, he goes, yeah, we had it coming. He knew. But anyway, so when I think back, that's a great question, Vic. I think of one of my fond memories is when we did those Halloween episodes and we dressed up. I remember cow udders. I remember clowns. I remember camel asses. I remember, shooting in that big place we shot.
It's in Richmond, BC.
Cannery?
Houston. Yeah, what the hell? Cannery, yeah, right. Yeah. Awesome location.
And by the way, me and Shannon are huge Once Upon a Time fans.
Oh, cool.
So it's like they show that, where is it?
In Steveston?
Isn't it Kitsilano Beach? Or Steve, wherever they shoot the show, it's where we used to shoot all the time. I'm like, we shot there. We shot there.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I mean, dressing up was always fun. Year one, season one was always, I remember it like it was yesterday. I mean, we didn't know really what we were doing too much. We didn't have any approvals or permissions to go to the places. I mean, the game companies let us in, but where we would shoot, we never had permission. It was just run and gun. And Scott Barrett, and Torben, one of the producers, and glasses, John Shaw.
Mm-hmm.
The 5 of us were really, God, am I missing somebody? Of course, well, Aaron and Tavis were the guys back in the studio who are still with Vic to this day. 20 years later, that group of people, that 7 or 8 people, first all I can just remember sitting in a room and talking about, you know, putting the show together and funny ideas. And we didn't have any budget. We didn't have any time. We didn't have any permissions. But every week, a new show would be churned out that was magical and that was ahead of its time. The graphics that we were doing lightsabers. Now anyone can do lightsabers. But back then, every single frame of animation had to be drawn on a lightsaber. And now it's so easy to do with tracking and stuff. But we were doing stuff. And I remember George Lucas, they showed our stuff at a Lucas meeting with George Lucas there. And people at ILM were impressed knowing that we didn't have their software.
Thomas got a call from ILM. Our graphics guy, they were talking to him about possibly moving down there.
He should have took the job.
I was so glad that didn't happen. But yeah, he was amazing, and I think that you know, that's kind of the roots of why it's persisted. You know, I think that's and kind of what G4 lacked a little bit. You can't orchestrate this stuff. You can't.
Well, it's passion. It's
passion. You can't fake it. You know, like the viewers are way too smart. That's know, they need to see. I mean, the direct analogy is in Canada we had Much Music, and Much Music only succeeded in the face of different competition from MTV in the States because people gravitated towards the VJs who were obviously huge music fans and knew what they were talking about, and they could speak to the camera very down to earth, and that's what we had, you know, like we had a show that was full on made with love. And we, you know, we felt very lucky to be able to do that. And it's always been baffling to me to watch other crews in the video game space kind of complain about the grind of it, you know, and complain about the, you know, the amount of stuff that they have to shoot at E3 or something like that, you know. And I've always felt, now I've been to 21 E3s. If anybody has the permission to say, okay, I need a break from E3s, it's me. But I've always felt so fortunate to get any opportunity to be invited to any of these things. And I've tried to instill that in all of our, you know, on all of our hosts, and also to be invited into these studios, you know, like we sometimes push the envelope. We sometimes got people almost fired because we would be running through their hallways with swords and shit like that. But I think what happened is people would see the end result of our crazy, zany sort of, you know,
they'd let us back.
Yeah, and they would love it, and they would go, "Oh my God, you guys are insane!" But you know, thank you. You built something really fun that we'll never forget.
Also important to note too, when the very first E3 happened in 1995, Vic was the only guy there with a freaking camera. That's how ahead of the curve. Now you go there, there's literally thousands. I actually know there's 6,000-7,000 press and media people register for E3 every year. Yeah. And so back then there was one.
Well, they had
one with a camera. One with a camera.
They had local news would show up because it was a big video game event, and they would stand outside or they would do little reports and stuff. But I mean, that's what blows me away today, right? Like we were alone back then on television, and in 2015, alone on television.
Still alone.
Yeah. Right now, we are not on television. You know, and I'm talking to people to hopefully change that. So keep your fingers crossed, but subscribe to this channel to help us out with that. But I still firmly believe that sort of, and it's not that TV is better than YouTube or online video or anything like that. I think you do it all, but I believe that video games should exist in a very powerful passive medium like TV. People should be exposed to games and conversations about games without having to go online to search for them. And that's been our magic bullet for so long, is people would just discover the show. We never had money to you know, hype the show or promote the show. We've never had billboards or bus ads or anything like that, but people would find it on TV and they'd go, well, this is this is really fun, and I like these guys, and
Well,
they look like they're having fun.
I'll say something that I'm probably not supposed to say, but I don't give a shit. Is that on G4? You know, the thing about TV shows is that's really important is that, you know, like Big Bang Theory, you know exactly what time it's on and exactly what time of day it's on.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you know, me and Vic, you know, the shows that we were doing on G4, we were the only shows when they first started the network, and I think forever, we were the only shows, video game related, that weren't owned by G4.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
yeah, we were the longest third-party partner that worked with them.
That's right. And so they always wanted to push their shows that they owned and controlled.
Yeah.
And me and Vic were the only ones who weren't in-house. We weren't there. We would just produce our show and give it to them. And so we never had a time slot. We were like always all over the place. Whereas all their shows, you knew exactly when X-Play was on. You knew exactly when Cheaters was on and whatever, Arena and all that. Yeah. So, but we actually saw a couple of the ratings sheets, which is like this kind of top secret hidden thing that they never wanted to show anybody. And we got a hold of some of them, and our show, even though we never had a slot, we were always number 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of, you know, really interesting to, Barcode Teacup says, this is so great. You guys need to do a regular podcast together. Well, there you go.
Well, you know what? This was an experiment. It's very easy to do, you know, while I'm on hiatus with television and with financing to do a whole bunch more stuff right now. This is definitely something that I could see us doing a little bit more of. And, you know, what'll be interesting is the kinds of fucking backgrounds you'll have.
Yeah, exactly. I'm in my studio now in San Juan Capistrano, Orange County, California.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a question for you. So out of all of the crazy, obnoxious shit that I did throughout the years on the show,
yes,
what was was there something that like surprised you, even, that was like, I can't believe he just did or said that?
You know, I learned so much from you, man. Like I learned to enjoy that moment in front of the camera, because I was, you know, you and I talked about this all the time. I really looked at the show when I began it as a show to honor the people we were talking to.
I kept telling, hey, Vic, come on, host the show with me.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. No, get the hell on here, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I watched you perform and just get into it and sort of not only, you know, be a source of energy that everybody would be watching, but also you would engage the people that you were interviewing in some really fun and dynamic ways. And I saw that, yes, okay, I've got to up my game. You know, I've got to feel more confident, and which is weird because I was an actor, but I was never an actor that was trying to showboat. You know, I wasn't a song and dance guy. I was just, you know, I'd try to play for real, you know, and I thought that being an interviewer meant that, just to go off and sort of push the camera towards the person that I was talking to. But those conversations can be really dry if you don't really kind of juice it and sort of own the position. And, you know, I'm not a goofball. I'm not a zany dude like you, but you certainly helped me to understand my own place and my own value and my own kind of strengths in front of the camera. And what's funny is that I didn't ever really think about me as a host until season 6, until Discovery did a focus test, and they came back to me and they said a lot of the viewers really like you and want to see you in the show more. And I went, oh, okay, that's amazing. And then so starting from season 7, we started to co-host a little bit more, and I think those engagements were really fun because then we took a lot of our. Pardon me?
It was season 6 or 7 when that first started. I thought you were like, we were hosting together like from season 3 or something.
Well, we were reviewing all the time, but
we were reviewing from, okay.
Yeah, and I probably threw to some things, but you were the primary. You were the
I didn't know it was for that long. I didn't realize it was for that long.
Yeah, and then what happened, I think, is because reviews was always the thing that everybody talked about. It was a great way to end the show because usually you and I would get into a fight and everybody would be laughing about that. And so when we brought that energy and dynamic to hosting and did our silly things with Tavis's stunts and effects and the great cutting that Aaron and the team was able to do, you know, I think we built a really fun, entertaining.
And Scott Barrett had a lot of crazy.
And Scott was crazy too.
He was. You know this guy he's like in real life, like crazy guy.
Yeah, like and very successful commercial director, editor. Now, what's he doing?
Yeah, he's making tons of money doing.
He's doing well. Always knew he would. But in terms of stuff that I just loved collaborating with you on the spot and coming up. Like I remember our Evil Dead thing where we had to do the crazy Sam Raimi. Where were we? Heavy Iron or something like that?
Oh,
we did the Sam Raimi crazy camera all the way through the studio kind of thing, and then you were running around, and the chainsaw was involved, and people's limbs,
blood everywhere,
everywhere. And it was bloody as hell. And we're like, is anybody going to say anything about this? Because we're just going to put all this CG blood everywhere.
I bet you couldn't even air that episode these days. There's probably some restrictions. You'd probably get letters.
Well, what happened with EP is, well, we don't, when we went daily, we don't have the time to invest into each segment like that. And, but we also went later at night. We actually had a great slot with City where we played against the late news, which was amazing all across the country. So 11 o'clock, I think we'd be fine. And TV is incredibly violent these days. I don't know if you're watching any of these, some pretty heavy shows out there.
I know.
But I remember that Evil Dead, and I remember, of course, the Braveheart review at IDOS, which almost got Heather Hawkins fired. She was so nervous by the end of that thing. Greg Rizzer was there, and you stabbed him.
We literally had the whole IDOS company, like, you know, going down the halls screaming and yelling. That was hilarious.
And I loved the Obi-Wan review that you did with Dan Connors, who went off to be one of the founders of Telltale, and you were the clumsy Jedi, and you were just walking through burning walls, and Dan was getting so frustrated. He's like trying to lead you everywhere. I loved all that stuff. You know what, though? It started with Doug TenNapel. You know, there was a couple of these marquee things that happened at the beginning of EP where I looked at the stuff on screen and I went, yeah, we have a show. This is absolutely going to work.
And that was season 1, show 1.
Yeah, I think that was 2, actually.
Was that 2?
Yeah, I think that was in 2. And Chris Taylor from Total Annihilation, he was at Barking Dog Games, I think. He was in episode 1, and I watched his interview, and he's a really funny, engaging guy, you know, and I just watched him talk, and he's so intelligent. I watched him talk about his game and his crazy creation, and I knew that this was going to be fun. You know, these are really interesting people with really cool projects, and nobody knows shit about how this stuff gets made. We are going to make a really fun series of these kinds of, you know, stories and interviews. And then when you got thrown out by Doug TenNapel, and he was nuts, he was so funny in that piece when we visited him for the Neverhood. That took it to another level. It's like, oh my God, we are going to be able to have a lot of fun with these developers.
And having the relationship with these folks kind of like off the cameras. The best interviews I thought were always when I knew, or you knew the people before, you know, we were friends. Like me and Doug worked together for years on Earthworm Jim and Jungle Book and all the games we worked on together. So I was now coming into his world, a world that I kind of knew. And that was always the most awkward thing for me, was I had to ask questions that I knew the answer to, you know? So I tried, I didn't want to ever come off as phony, but it's like, so how do you do this and that? It's like, well, yeah, we just did it together yesterday, but yeah, let me ask you the question again for the audience, because that was always you know.
Yeah, and that was an interesting thing that happened with the show too. When we got to Discovery Science in 2001, we'd already done 5 seasons of EP, and we had this shorthand down. You know, like we just assumed that the viewers were going to keep up with us, and we were just going to talk about the minutia in these games, and we knew all the people in the business already, and we'd had lots of developers on the show. And we were sending stuff to Discovery, and they were like, can you guys just like slow down for a second here? Can you explain a couple of these things? Like, you know, what are polygons and mesh maps? And I don't even know, like all these different terms that were being bandied about, but they loved the show, which was really cool, you know, and that was a really amazing catalyst to working with G4, and that led to our Rogers relationship. So we were able to reinvent and kind of rebuild a few times, you know, because the media business is not easy. But I think it's just based on the strength of this fun concept, man. I really believe that you know, getting out into the world to talk with these developers and covering them and getting into their space and maintaining that sense of fun and that sense of passion for this is really needed and really an important part of the video game space. I don't think that it's, you know, it's going to be great if it's only YouTubers and streamers that are celebrities in the game space, you know?
So here's
go ahead.
No, I say JBJ Blaze.
Yeah.
Says, do you enjoy Tommy getting peeved off during the review because he disliked the game? Is that your purpose in reviewing games with him, for his Tom Mighty rage? Well, go ahead. You go first.
I mean, I think the thing that we wanted to cultivate is just like we're just maybe it's heightened a little bit because we have to play back to the camera, but we're representing the people that we are, you know, and I really kind of noticed that a lot of the other outlets that, you know, I'd grown up with, the other magazines and the websites that were starting to pop up when we were making the show, really kind of took the focus away from the individual. That's starting to change now because everybody does have a camera. Yeah. But I really wanted the individuals of EP and reviews and Judgment Day to kind of be known and have their opinions be known and have that discussion, that natural discussion, be organic and truthful. And the biases needed to be kind of on display because we each have our own, you know, likes and dislikes. And I think it's ludicrous to expect a critic to just be a generalist and just be into everything and try to ascertain whether a game is for an audience. The game is for that person, and your score reflects your personal score. And, right. And the job of us reviewing and hosting shows is for you know, the viewers to kind of get to know all of these idiosyncrasies that we have.
Well, and it's two friends talking about video games. And yes. That was the thing that I thought was the best part of our chemistry, is that it's just, we would do on camera what every single other gamer does in their own home. It just happens that there was a camera in front and you know, it was broadcast to 100 million people. But for me, I can say that me and Vic would never talk about a game before they hit the camera, because we didn't want, I mean, at some point we knew towards the end, we had known, like, oh, I know he's going to love this and I'm going to hate it, or, you know, vice versa. But, you know, there was always surprises, surprises. But we never would talk about it beforehand, because what you saw on screen, that was our natural first reaction to each other.
Yep.
Now, did I purposely say things because I knew it would make him feel uncomfortable? Absolutely.
Every time, yeah.
My goal on the show sometime was, what can I say that will make him feel awkward, uncomfortable?
What can you put down your pants?
Because that to me was funny. And to a lot of people who are watching the show, it was funny because you really would get embarrassed and you really would be shocked.
Of course.
You really would be. You know, that was no
I played the dad on the show, for Christ's sake.
And I played the bad cop. And what's funny is that some people, like when the show was happening and everything, there were a lot of people who like hated me. You know, because they're like, you're such a punk ass, blah, blah, blah. You hate this, you hate that. You know, I played up stuff, you know, on purpose, because I wanted to get a reaction out of Vic. Because when he got uncomfortable, it was real and it made for great TV.
Well, and I always used to say to you too, because you would get upset, and you and I would, send emails back and forth, and you'd be like, "Fuck, they hate me. Why is this guy all up my ass right here? This is ridiculous." I remember you used to get involved in the forum discussions.
Oh
sometimes.
yeah, oh that was
I
great.
would say, dude, what are you doing? That's exactly what they want you to do.
Oh, I'd troll, man.
I would try to take you down off of the ledge and say, look, it's the same thing with Howard Stern, and anybody that's got a controversial voice out there is a target. Same thing happened with Scott too, like it's the way of things, and if you are picky and you have biases and choices, I mean, the thing that's true with me is I created a show about video games. So clearly I have an unhealthy obsession with a lot of video games. Right. I didn't just look at it and go, well, I'm going to make a sports video game show, or I'm going to make a show just about Japanese RPGs. I love a lot of games, and that is reflected in the way that I review. I love a lot of these things that come out, and clearly they have inspired me so much that I wanted to, move my whole life in this direction to build this show. So and I think if you were reviewing with me and you had, a very specific tastes, like I remember you not liking Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, that's cool. I mean, that's you represent a huge section of the audience, and you should be able to just say that, even if it's now it's Metacritic, now everybody goes off of these Metacritic scores, but even if it's like a general all-purpose review score that everybody kind of assigns to something, that's BS. That's not value. The value is in the conversation and the connection and the dynamic of that conversation. And I learned that working with you. And, I know that there were definitely some hurtful comments out there, but you should, and I hope you feel proud because you were unforgettable on the show. People still ask about you all the time. And so much of what you and I kind of built as the template of that conversational tone shifted to everybody else, every other review team, everybody that I worked with, but every other review team. They took on a lot of those best practices, but nobody forgot about you.
Well, I think Scott Jones said it best when he said that Vic had to hire 9 other people to equal one of me.
Well, now you said it. And you didn't sound at all like an asshole when you said that.
No, not at all. It's all my split personalities.
No, and you know what? I mean, I am actually grateful in some ways that, like I missed the dynamic, and I was freaked out when you left. I didn't know what the hell we were going to do, but clearly you had a business that was rocking, and I actually, when you left, I didn't know what the future was for the shows, but I wanted to keep talking and keep trying and keep building. And I liked that I had to kind of, suck it up and use my best resources to kind of embellish and build again. And we were very fortunate, knock on wood, to be able to grow and hire lots of interesting people. And, I had a crazy dream of one day this would be so popular that we could build a daily show. And when we did that in 2008, it was insane. And the people that I got to hire, I love them. They were awesome. They were all fantastic group. They are all fantastic people. And, so it was some hard days trying to transition all that stuff, but I'm grateful for all of that challenge too. It's been really cool. But how is it for you when you watch the show? What do you think of, the 7 to 8 to 9? I think we had 11 hosts across EP and reviews. Honestly,
because I live in America, so I never really got a chance to watch the show after.
Crazy. Isn't that nuts that there's nothing? I mean, we had 3 years there where we had this great footprint down there, but our sales guys just couldn't, and we were getting great ratings, but our sales guys just could not, sell the sponsorships around it to make it a worthwhile business for us. And I had to kind of make the hard call. I mean, we had all of these stations that loved the show and was rating really well, but the people that we were working with, they hired the wrong stupid people, and they let us down. And of course, I was way too busy making 2 shows a day to also sort of take in all of the sales internally to be able to make that work. But it just blows my mind that this business and all of this sort of geeky culture that we talk about on EP all the time has been in Canada pretty consistently for a long time, but not
Yeah.
in the States at all. It's incredible.
Yeah, well, I mean, with online stuff now, I mean, anyone can really see it anywhere in the world now. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
what else? What other questions we got here? Give me a question. What do we got?
I got any word on when EP Daily will return? I don't have any statements or announcements or anything like that to make on that. But the best way that you can help us, because I want to bring the show back however we can, whether it's to television or the internet or whatever, is to just subscribe to this channel, watch the content, like it, retweet it, embed it, whatever you want to do. But that helps us a lot.
Carrie Anderson asks, how do you guys feel about internet game reviewers like Completionist, Angry Video Game Nerd, and others? Are they unprofessional, or is this where reviews are going to grow? I've never been a fan of the video game media. I feel it's one of the spots that is still lacking in the video game industry. When you look at the film, when you look at the genre of film or television, they have like serious reviews and TV shows and magazines, and it's and journalism. What is journalism? Journalism is asking questions. Journalism is getting to the bottom of things. Journalism is not just taking a press release and rehashing it on your website and putting up a screenshot, or some rumor or some negative crap, or like this and that. Like true journalism, which Vic knows about, is asking the question, is doing stories on things, is
it's expensive
questions.
That's the part of it, is that it costs real money,
and it's hard work. It's not lazy cut and paste and this and that. So to me, I've never thought that video game journalism is in a place where it should be. I think that's a fair comment to say. I think the video game industry is lacking in true video game journalism. So I've always been kind of like down about that. But in regards to
some awesome news guys out there now. There are like Patrick Klepek and some of the people from Polygon and stuff like that. They're really digging deep. But I think part of the problem is the business is really transforming, and it's really tough to kind of follow these trends and sort of be ahead of them and know what people will want. And it's so incredibly competitive right now to try to get the clicks, and nothing is more disheartening to me than to go onto these sites and then they have at the bottom of them what else is trending on the internet, and it's some child star picture of look at how awful they look now. And like really respectable sites have to kind of suffer that indignity of adding this garbage out there, and it's because it's so incredibly difficult. I mean, what's happened is the traditional advertising model around media has really bottomed out, and people are just trying to get the traffic any way that they can. There's so much competition for all of this stuff. There are a lot of paid for commentators out there that are kind of muddying the water a little bit too. And I think we are moving back to a subscription type of thing where you pick the outlets and the people that you really like, and you support them and you subscribe to them, like we used to with magazine subscriptions. We used to really like something and we would get behind them and support them. And I think a lot of media companies are going to have to face that, because the advertising way that it's all being paid for right now is really tough. But the thing that I will say about the YouTubers and the Twitchers out there is that there is an honesty and a level of commitment to the game and to being completionists and showing all kinds of secrets and details. I love the angry video game nerd who goes back in time and looks all. That's fun.
He's
that's
funny,
really fun.
But what my favorite reviewer though is that guy.
Sorry for sniffling. I have a cold and I must sound gross.
What's that English guy who does all the little animations?
Oh, Yahtzee?
Yahtzee. Oh my God.
He was great. I don't know if he's still doing it, but I really enjoy him too. Yeah,
he was always my favorite.
Yeah.
Somebody asked here, Sylvia Music said, what characteristics do you think are needed to be a music producer and entertainer, or entertainer in the gaming industry? I would say what we were kind of talking about earlier is just being yourself, you know, for the entertaining aspect. If you're thinking about doing your own channel on YouTube or something like that.
I'm blowing my nose. I'll be right back.
You're blowing your nose? He's blowing his nose. Okay, let's talk shit on him. He's not here. So isn't his head big? I mean, his head's like this big on the screen. Like that's like if we were to compare heads, like my head would be this size, but his head is like this big. And yeah, it's pretty cool. Oh, and so to get into the industry, just being yourself. You know?
What shit did you talk about me while I was blowing?
Oh, me? Nothing. I've been talking about how to get in the industry. And so just being yourself. There you go.
Yeah, totally.
Next
Man,
question.
this is amazing. Thank you all for showing up. You want to answer a couple more?
Yeah. A couple more. We'll at 3:40. We'll do like 10, 15 more minutes.
I got one right here.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys need to give us a little warning about these live streams. Some are closer to my interests, so I would plan to see it live. Is there a way to find out about it in advance? Are you tweeting this stuff, Vic? I don't think I've seen anything. This is our first one. I've never done this before, and it's clearly kind of cool. I think it's working. And please let us know either in the questions or the comments later if you dug this, and we could do this again for sure. And I can connect with friends like Tommy, and there's other people that I know in the game space and lots of other industries. But
yeah, I put it out. I put it out on Facebook. I put it out on our Video Games Live Facebook page. So check that out. And then I have a page as well on Facebook, just Tommy Tallarico. And yeah, that's the best place. And Twitter at Tommy Tallarico or at Video Games Live.
Brodager says, Tommy, you are funny.
Hey,
I think she forgot looking and a period, but she got most of it.
Yeah. Tommy, you are funny looking. Okay, no, Tommy. Yes, Brittany Rodiger, my good friend up in LA. She's been to like every Video Games Live show in the LA area, and big fan.
That's awesome. This one's from Shyla. Glad I am back in time to see this. How did you get into making music for / reviewing games? Would you still get into it today if you were younger? Ooh. And what characteristic?
Oh, that was the one I just read. I read.
Okay, all right, okay.
But yeah, okay. but would I still get?
You didn't read the younger part though. You skillfully.
See what I did there, and now you fucked it up for me.
I'm sorry, dude. Okay, here. This one's from David Stewart. Loved watching you both on Judgment Day. Were your comments during the reviews? Example, the review of Kirby Air with Tommy, saying he'd stuff Kirby up his bum and fart him out. Were those remarks scripted or on the spot?
No. Look, this is very important for everybody to know. There was not one single scripted line ever in Judgment Day and Reviews on the Run.
Yeah, in the reviews. In EP, I would give you a script, and then you would take many, many, many minutes reading my lines.
And then crossing everything out.
Not doing any of this. And then you would try about 10 different things, and then you would get back to what I wrote, but in your own way. And then we would shoot it, and we would complete that intro.
That's right. That's right. That was for the intros for Electric Playground. But the Kirby fart air ride thing, nothing was. I'll tell you what I would do when I would play a game. I would write down bullet points. I might think of something funny in my head, like Kirby air ride. Okay, I gotta tie in, and like I literally have my notes.
Oh, your note would be
Kirby fart.
Yeah,
and that would be it. So before they turn the camera on, in my mind, I'm going, okay, how am I going to work farting into this?
Now, everybody, reflect on this is the guy, like 5 minutes ago, was complaining about the hardcore journalism that is missing in the video game industry.
I never consider myself a journalist. I was just telling people what I thought of video games.
Oh, and then the show was better for it. Let's say you knew you were going to die in, say, 1 year. Oh, we're getting bleak here. What would you like to accomplish or do as part of a bucket list?
Holy Christ, I've done a lot.
Fuck, if I knew I was going to die in a year, I'd want to spend every waking minute with my wife and my daughter, and that's it. Nothing else.
What would I like to accomplish? I've been to every country. I've been to every place I've ever wanted to go, thanks to Video Games Live. What would I like to accomplish?
Kids are pretty cool.
Yeah?
Just saying that.
All right. I'll get back to you. Yeah, but if you're going to die in a year, then you 9 months, you have a kid, you see it for 3 days, and then you're dead.
Well, then you do that. What was that, Mr. Mom or something like? No, what was the thing where Michael Keaton had to make that video of all the things that is? It was so sad, but it was awesome. Remember that one?
Batman, the original Batman.
He was in Batman. Yep. And Beetlejuice.
No, that was not the movie. Beetlejuice. That was the movie. Beetlejuice.
Okay. Tommy, favorite Gamer Wars.
Gamer
from
Wars.
Mega 64.
Yes.
Yeah, those guys are great.
We've done. Well, there's 5 of them, but there's really only 4 because we purposely skipped 4. We went right to 5 because we thought it would be funny, because we did like Gamer Wars 1, Gamer Wars 2, and then we did like Gamer Wars 4, and it was like, well, where's? And people are looking. We're like, people will look for 3 because they're going to assume they missed one. Right.
That sounds like those guys.
No, that was my idea. I'm going to take credit for that one. I think the first one was the funniest because we didn't know what the hell we were doing, and I had no idea what to expect from those guys. So I'll go with the first one on that. But yeah.
I had one up here.
Who'd win in an arm wrestling match? Tommy T or Scotty J? Who's Scotty J?
That's Scott Jones.
Oh my God! Are you kidding me? I'd totally win. I'll tell you why. Now Scott is bigger, right? And
he's
probably stronger. He's a stronger guy, but I'm a little Italian from New York, and I got news for you from the East Coast. I'm gonna fight dirty. So while we're arm wrestling, right before we start, I'd kick him in the ding ding.
Yeah, you would. I know. Or you would bite his hand or something like that.
I'd bite his hand. I'd say something about his mother or something to throw psychologically. So I'd get in his head psychologically and then kick him in the ding ding. But so I would cheat. I would win, but I would do it dirty and cheating because he would really beat me.
Captain Canuck says, how about Vic going on tour with Tommy and doing a review on the road in each city or on stage?
Hey, tell me yes or no. Did I not suggest this, 4 years ago?
I know.
Come on.
The logistics on that. I mean, it's the same as trying to corner you to play games so that you can review them. It's when you're
now you have more time.
So now we do. This is we're catching up for the first time doing this, and
the problem is
let's do some more discussion around things together.
Imagine reviews on the run with Tommy and Vic, and we're projecting on the Great Wall of China.
That's incredible. Does Video Games Live want to sponsor reviews on the run?
We could talk about that. We could talk about that.
Well, I like that idea. I mean, I've wanted to tour with the show we have, because you were in LA and I was in Vancouver. And when we were weekly, we would have to kind of split the difference all the time. Either we'd shoot in LA, Vancouver, San Francisco, wherever the hell you were. I would usually come to me. I mean, we shot in Miami, New York. We had so many great adventures like that.
Hold on. I got a beef here. Mr. Henry. Yeah. He says, you made Earthworm Jim 3D. That game was terrible and you should feel ashamed. Let me tell you something, Mr. Henry.
He knows.
We did Earthworm Jim 1 and Earthworm Jim 2. We had nothing to do. That was Viz over in Scotland. It was Earthworm Jim. First of all, I agree with you 100%. Earthworm Jim 3D was the biggest pile of crap next to high heat baseball. They completely lost everything, that the humor, and it was so different and so crappy, you could tell it was from a completely different team. So we had nothing to do with Jim 3D, but I totally agree with you.
Okay. What do we
Oh,
have?
I like this one. Kasumi Chan says, if you could go back in time, what would you tell Sega to change the destiny of the Dreamcast? That's a great question. Hi. I see the you got the Kasumi Chan thing, you know. The volleyball game, my favorite game ever.
Oh my God, Dead or Alive?
Dead or Alive volleyball. What a great game.
Unbelievable.
In a good way.
It was great for a minute in 2001, maybe.
So what would we tell Sega to the Dreamcast? I mean, it was why did the Dreamcast was a cool system, but it just never did anything. It wasn't as popular as the Saturn. You know, I think it was just the timing of the system when it came out, because the Dreamcast came out, like, was it a year before the PlayStation 2, or was it the year after?
The PlayStation 2 launched in Japan in 2000, I think, and the Dreamcast was 99. PlayStation 2 was much more powerful.
Yeah.
So
I think the timing of the system was where I think it was. If go back in time, I would tell Sega to hold it a year and wait for the technology, because I specifically remember the timing of the Dreamcast near this PlayStation.
Well, plus, Sega didn't have the pockets that Sony did, and Sony was not going to let the PlayStation be unsuccessful. They were going to spend as much as they could.
Hundreds of millions.
Yeah, to bring developers to that platform, lock up exclusives. And they were very, very smart and kind of ruthless. And Sega was, facing a lot of the same issues that Nintendo's got with trying to get third-party companies to put stuff on their machine. They actually did a pretty good library of games for the Dreamcast, and it was a successful launch. But they just couldn't compete dollar-wise with Microsoft and Sony. Hey, this is my first podcast since the break, and I want to quickly talk about some stuff that was sent to me because it was crazy. I had an interview with a guy named Adnan, and he sent a package, and it was a thank you, and because I did the interview thing, and he sent some really cool toys and a Star Wars Battlefront poster with an awesome stormtrooper on it.
Oh, cool.
He's an awesome dude, and he sent me an adorable Batman Adorbs, which we'll put up on the shelf over there.
You can shove that up your ass.
I could do that. If you were here, I would do it up yours. This is one of the Disney Infinity 3.0 figures, but it's the light up lightsaber thing. So that was cool. I don't have any of these, but now I do. It's an Obi-Wan, which rumor is, I don't know if you've heard this, Tommy, but Disney and Lucas are courting Ewan McGregor to come back for at least one Obi-Wan movie.
That'd be cool.
I think that would be amazing.
Yeah.
And then Loot Crate, out of the blue.
Oh, you got Loot Crate?
I don't get Loot Crate. I never have subscribed to it, but they sent me tons of stuff, and I just got to thank them because.
Did you get a Video Games Live shirt? We were in Loot Crate a couple months ago.
Oh, really? That's awesome. Well, I got some Star Wars pajamas as part of their clothing stuff, which is it's got blueprints of.
Put them on now.
I'm not going to put them on right now. I'll put on the scarf that they sent me, though. It has blueprints of the X-Wing and the TIE Fighter. I got a BB-8 pencil case.
Does the Death Star blow up on your nuts?
Yes, it does. And then I think this is the regular Loot Crate thing. I think, it's pretty good. You can see
That's great. Loot Crate's
it's really cool art, man. I can't believe I'd never opened one of these things, so I didn't know what the hell was happening, right? And there's a lot of great details. This is one of their Christmas t-shirt sweater things.
That's funny.
And it looks like Moon Patrol, which I love.
Yeah.
And then they have this really cool metal Halo ammo box, which is great. And inside, I found my favorite thing out of all the stuff that Loot Crate sent, an exclusive Han Solo in snow gear.
Wow.
And I've already opened that up. Old Han Solo, my new favorite character.
Yeah, his hair is starting to turn your color.
Thank you.
So that tin, you can put all your coke and heroin and
all my coke and heroin.
Yeah,
this is cool.
So that'll work.
This is Alan Rickman just passed away, and this is kind of I love that man.
Was he in Galaxy Quest?
Yeah, he's amazing in Galaxy Quest.
Oh my gosh, I don't think I've ever seen that.
It's a great movie, and there's a little patch in there, and there's some BB-8 socks. I don't know how often I'll wear those, but they're crazy. And then there was a Star Wars exclusive one, which of course focused on all of the Star Wars craziness that's out there. This is my favorite part of that. It's a Star Wars scarf, which I kind of look like a billboard for the movie, but look at how cool that is. It has the Rebel and the Imperial stuff on there.
You'd fit right in on the Big Bang Theory.
Are the insignias the same with the First Order and the Resistance? Did they keep the Rebel Alliance thing, or did they change all of that? I didn't even know. Do you know?
I don't know. I don't even know. Yeah.
There's a Star Wars toque. Ruby wears that. She looks cute. We look like nerds when we walk around together.
I bet.
A Republic bathroom bag thing. A BB-8 shirt.
Thing.
This is cool. This is a really cool thing. There are Star Wars kid books inside of this thing from
wow.
A little golden book.
Golden books. Oh my God. Golden books did Star Wars? You kidding me?
There's 6 little golden books in there.
Oh my God.
I haven't opened any of this stuff because I wanted to show off that this came.
I want to get those. I don't even have a kid, but I want to get them. So when I have a kid someday,
it's so crazy, man. I know. There's a Darth Vader, Mr. Potato. I've never liked the Mr. Potato things, and I keep getting them.
They're a little weird. They're a little weird.
I've got an Indiana Jones one. I think I've already had a Darth Vader.
Yeah, I'm not.
Vader one.
Don't dig those.
No, this is cool though. You
the
put
Legos I can get into, but not the potato heads.
No, you put a Kylo Ren. What are they called? They're metal Earth. You put a little metal Earth sculpture thing together. So, and look at this, man. Look at the inside of this. It's ridiculous. It's a lot of love.
How much are those? They're like what, $20 a month?
Like $150, and there's a lot of stuff in this thing, and it totally. And there's exclusive things like the scarf and the hat you can't get anywhere else.
Right.
You got to be a big Star Wars nerd to appreciate that.
What's on your shirt? What the hell's your shirt?
Oh, I have an Iron Giant shirt.
I thought it was Iron Giant. You always loved that movie.
I love that movie. I want them to revisit it. And then there's also a Call of Duty Black Ops 3 loot crate thing. I'm telling you, I got totally spoiled at Christmas time. You know, it was nuts. And I bought a Lego Millennium Falcon because I was in Star Wars, and Ruby and I put it together, and we had a blast with that.
That's cool.
This is a Call of Duty hoodie and a bag. Wow.
You wear that to church, that one. That'll be great.
I can wear it when I'm taking out criminals downtown. Yeah, look at this, just bloody and gory.
Yeah,
that's cool shit. I think I have what is this? A flashlight and some earbuds and stuff. Crazy, but I don't. I'm very spoiled in my job. I get a lot of stuff to check out all the time, but I hadn't ever experienced a loot crate thing, and got to thank those people for sending that. That was really cool.
Yeah, loot crate's awesome.
Yeah. So are you a subscriber? Do you get them every month?
No, I don't. But we worked like Video Games Live. We'll work together. We'll do an exclusive CD or exclusive T-shirt, and do that. So it's all part of that kind of geek culture stuff. So we fit right in. So yeah.
That's awesome.
Great company.
When's your first working day? Are you off somewhere next year or next week?
No. Yeah. I leave on Friday. We're doing Richmond, Virginia.
Wow.
On Saturday, next Saturday, and we just did New Jersey, NJ Pack, 2 weekends ago, and then after New Jersey, I come home for a couple of days. Then we play Ohio, Toledo, Ohio. We've never played there before. We've played Richmond before. It'll be our second time there, but we've never played Toledo, Ohio. And then the craziness really starts. We're going to be down in Mexico, 10,000 people a night. We're doing Mexico City and Monterrey. And here's a Vic's Basement exclusive for those of you who follow it. But in Mexico, we're going to have the amazing Maluka is going to be performing with us. She's the one who did that Dragonborn Comes, the really beautiful acoustic.
Dragonborn Comes? Is that what you said?
Dragonborn Comes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
All over your chin.
Okay.
So but we're doing a couple of shows in Mexico, and then we're going to Malaysia. Wow. This is out in February. Malaysia. Then we fly to Doha, Qatar. We're doing a show it's in the Middle East. It's right next to Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we fly to China and do the Dota 2 championships there. 25,000 people in the stadium. And then we start our big European tour, going to Vienna, Austria, and Barcelona, Spain, and Madrid, Spain with the National Symphony, and all over Germany, and London, of course, multiple shows in London, Manchester. And this is like March. We're in like the middle of March. So it's going to be craziness. I'm really looking forward to it. So if anyone wants to come see Video Games Live, check out videogameslive.com, sign up to our mailing list.
You will be in their city no matter where they are.
At some point
in 2016.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Oh, dude. And also I want to announce this. This is an exclusive as well. We're working on a 5th album, Video Games Live Level 5. And we're going to launch the Kickstarter for that on my birthday. My birthday is February 18th. And but some of the songs we're going to be doing, we do Phoenix Right Now. Eco, we do this amazing Eco thing. Oh my God, it's so pretty. There's going to be
easier to work with the game companies on all the licensing and all that stuff?
All of them except Nintendo and Square.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, there's still pains in the asses. Yeah. I know I shouldn't say that publicly, but I don't give a shit. Nintendo and Square are, they have their own video game tours now. Like, Video Games Live started it all, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, that's a good idea. I think we'll start to do that. And no, you can't play our stuff anymore. They can't stop us from performing music, but licensing us the video is a different story. So
right.
And Square have been a little weird about that. But now there's like 5 video game symphony concert tours out there now, which is fine. Hey, for me, it's like, the what do they say? The highest form of flattery is
started an industry
imitation, and that's great. And I love that. As a video game composer, I want there to be as many video game shows, period, as there are. But we're making a really big announcement about Capcom coming in a couple of weeks. That is going to be awesome. It's not Video Games Live related. It's something new and something really cool and unique.
Nice.
So Capcom's been great. All the companies have really been amazing, especially Blizzard. Blizzard's like the best, and Valve. But Blizzard is like the company that's just year after year.
Is there a city out there that feels like home when you go back to it?
Brazil. Well, the country of Brazil and Chile. Those are 2 that are unbelievable. And actually in Montreal, in Canada, Quebec, boy, the reaction that we get there is just great.
Huge gamers in Montreal, man. Absolutely.
Amazing. I mean, it's just louder. But Chile and Brazil are the 2 best places that we play every year. I mean, they just don't let us leave the stage, and they're cheering and they're screaming and they're clapping.
Wow.
The walls are shaking. I mean,
that's
if
amazing.
you go on YouTube right now after this, put in like Video Games Live Chile audience, and you'll see it on my YouTube channel, and you'll see the crowd. It'll blow your mind. It's like,
and this just underlines there's so much passion for this business and these
all over the world. Yeah,
all over the world. Why isn't there good content that's talking about I mean, there's good, teams and streamers and things like that. But I feel like so much more could be done, and you're proving it out with your tour of Video Games Live, man. It's amazing.
Hey, did you ever think about doing EP or reviews on the run on like going to Netflix and asking them and do an exclusive Netflix thing?
I've been talking to lots of people, lots of people. And
cool.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that seems really obvious, and you trust me, I've connected with a lot of people, and I'm having some really good conversations right now. But I don't want to, like you brought up with us never having a time slot on G4, or feel like we were just a part
now
of.
Now you don't need a time slot. It's just when it comes out.
Absolutely. But if we're going to partner with somebody, I want there to be a real like they really want to help spread the gospel about what we do. They want to be participants and real partners, you know. And not saying I didn't have a good partnership with G4 before, but yeah, it's the blessing and the curse of being independent. We weren't owned, so we had a ton of autonomy to just create whatever we wanted all the way along. But we don't really get the promotional support or the you know, the real platform kind of opportunities that we could have thrived with, you know. And Rogers, I think, was the strongest, most stable partner for us for a long time. But again, we were in a, you know, we were an independent show that we just delivered to them, and they had a lot of their own sort of investments and very expensive American shows that they paid for, and breakfast television and stuff like that. So we never really got promoted. We pitched them all the time, but you know, I can't.
Is G4 still on in Canada?
Are we still on in Canada? No, not right now.
No, is G4 still working?
Yes, which is crazy.
And do they do video game stuff, or is it like, it's all like cops and reruns of?
It's a lot of reality TV type stuff. Yeah,
it's okay.
Yeah,
yeah. So okay, so you were the last video game thing on.
Yes.
In Canada. God,
yeah, and they had
because G4 in Canada, like what, 3 or 4 years ago, was still really cool. I mean, they had a lot of really good video game content on there. So all that went away then. That sucks.
Well, and you know, I can't fault them because they did invest in us. You know, they did try to make a real go with this, but their business changed. You know, they spent billions of dollars on hockey, which was a very expensive bet, but a smart bet because Canadians love hockey. But suddenly their need for content really shifted to hockey related stuff, you know. And I get it. I have no ill feelings about our Rogers or our partnership there, but whoever we end up working with, I really want them to go, oh my God, you guys make really cool things. Let's tell everybody about it. You guys won't just send us a show and it'll get sort of put into a slot. Let's promote it every day. Let's make sure all of the stations and all of the ways that the you know, the word can get out are all delivered on, you know. So we'll see if that happens. That's what I'm trying to do right now.
Cool. All right. Well, hey, thanks for having me on here. Very cool.
This was great, man. Very fun. Great experiment. I'm so glad that people tuned in. Thanks everybody for watching.
What's the final count?
I don't know. I think YouTube will probably tally everything up, and we might get a few more comments and stuff like that. But this won't be the last time that you'll be on. I'll bug you again about doing something like this. I'd love to do it where you're in some really weird, exotic location and you've got a Wi-Fi signal and we can pull that off. That'd be so cool.
That'll be easy. Well, not China, though, because they ban, they call it the Great Firewall of China. They don't allow YouTube or anything. You have to get like a VPN and like sneak out under the wall. But somewhere, we'll do it in Europe or something. And Barcelona, on the beach in Barcelona.
That sounds amazing. Let's stay in touch. And brother, congratulations. 10 years of anything is a big deal. And you proved it, man. Video Games Live is
13 years.
13 years.
Well, our first show is in 2005, and it'll be coming on 11 years of touring and 14 years since I started the company.
Amazing, man.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
All right. Awesome.
New year.
See you, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for all the great questions, and I hope to see you guys on Facebook.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everybody. And please click subscribe to the YouTube channel, and appreciate all your questions and your comments. See you soon.
Rockin'. Bye.
Bye.